Hello, hello. This is my artifact episode number 3373 or 74, maybe. I'm not really sure. Today's date is uh, 30 March 2025. It's been almost like a night at 9:55 p.m. Alright, we directly jump into the question. Alright, let's go. Alright, yeah. Question is, one of your post goes viral, but for the wrong reason. People are misinterpret your message. What would you do? Oh, that is really good question. That is like a really okay. Yeah. Okay, add like what exactly is this question? Okay, where is this question came from and what exactly is this thing? Okay, so I am kind of like something a content creator. Yeah, should I say content creator? Yeah, I'm not earning any money by the way, but I am actually creating my content and uploading on social media platform, YouTube and Instagram. So regarding about those, I wanted to kind of like somebody heads up regarding about what kind of like a something I'm gonna problem that I would gonna face in the future. Okay, yeah. So I kind of like somebody went to the chat GPT and kind of like asked me such a question regarding about social media, regarding about everything. Yeah. So basically this is kind of like a somebody question which is chat GPT is actually mentioned that key one of your content is kind of like a something goes viral and people are kind of like a take something very different messages. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. If you don't really understand na, um, um okay, so a couple of couple of days ago, there is a controversy actually happened. Okay, I'm not really sure are you familiar with this thing, or I am not really sure that when you are kind of like a listening this artifact. But let me tell you one thing regarding about what exactly happened recently. um, there is a content creator named Ranveer Allahbadia. Okay, beer biceps. He is really amazing person. Okay, yeah, an amazing content creator too. Mostly his content is actually based on podcast. Okay, he actually make the podcast and things like that uploaded on the YouTube platform. His podcast is really good. Genuinely get so much value that I get from this person's podcast. Really incredible guy. In this podcast he actually mentioned regarding about meditation. He did meditation. His spirituality is really good. His thinking is really good. He met with a lot of incredible person all around the world. Okay, yeah, like spiritual person from like a scientific point of perspective. Like basically is this thing na ki usually he was doing this thing for almost like a 7 8 year doing the podcast, and almost like a thousands of podcast he uploaded on the YouTube platform. And he has really lot of experience and really lot of information regarding about everything. Okay, and people are actually looking at to the beer biceps is very positive way. Okay, yeah, means like that this guy is a kind of like a something really good regarding about the information that he have regarding about the spirituality, regarding about everything. Yeah, because the way that he talk, people are kind of like a something understand that this guy is really incredible. And yeah, this guy is really incredible. Okay, yeah. So this kind of like a, but what I'm trying to tell you is this thing that ki we actually kind of like a look a person. Okay, yeah, and we kind of like understand that ki this is kind of like a somebody person. Okay, but another side of person that we haven't really seen, other another side means like that behind the camera, what is exactly this person and that person. Okay, yeah, behind the camera he was kind of like a simply fun chill guy. Okay, yeah, but we don't really understand how much fun and chill guy, like we knew that fun and chill guy, but how much. Okay, yeah. So basically what exactly happened, so this is Ranveer Allahbadia. Okay, yeah. Now I'm gonna talk about Samay Raina. Okay, Samay Raina is a comedian. He's not podcaster. He's a comedian. and he usually very blunt regarding about the comedy, and his comedy is a really dark comedy. What's a dark comedy? A dark comedy means like that ki you are kind of like simply fun of people, but in very kind of like simply very dark tone, very kind of like a something like that ki people might get hurt. Okay, yeah. Like there are kind of like a simply different kind of like a simply comedy. First of all, is that ki when you are kind of like a fun of yourself, okay, yeah, or you are kind of like a fun of someone who is not exist, or kind of like a something fun of such a person which is kind of like a something far away or something like that ki they don't really mind. Okay, like basically if I'm kind of like a somebody comedian and I'm kind of like a doing the stand up, so basically is this thing, mostly I do fun of me, mostly I do fun of my situation, mostly I do fun of my classroom, high school, college, office. Okay, yeah. Also I do fun of government too. Okay, yeah. So basically is this thing na ki usually I do fun of some sort of person, situation or environment where it is not exist in that moment. Yeah, like basically is this thing na ki I am actually fun of such a person or such a situation where not exist in that particular surrounding, in that particular show. Okay, yeah. But Samay Raina do something very different. He fun of people around nearby. Yeah, like basically is this thing, if I'm kind of like a something like I went to watch Samay Raina show. Okay, yeah. So Samay Raina kind of like a do fun of me. Okay, yeah. So basically is this thing na, at the beginning I might gonna laugh, but it felt little bit of off. Okay, so Samay Raina, yeah. So Samay Raina is a kind of like a some comedian who is kind of like a doing a dark comedy. Means like that he kind of like a do the comedy in front of person. Means like that if I went to watch his show and he do fun of me. Okay, regarding about everything. Okay, yeah. Okay, so basically at that point everyone is actually laughing. So as a kind of like a something societal point of perspective, I might gonna laugh. I still inside gonna hurt, but I might gonna laugh. Okay, yeah, because I wanted to blend in the society, because I don't want to create any kind of like some scene and things like that. But deep down I feel little bit of hurtful. Okay, yeah, this is what kind of like a something a dark comedy. Okay, means like that you are fun of a people who is kind of like a somebody around you. Okay, yeah. Usually is this thing, this is actually happened in our group or in friend circle. Okay, yeah, like basically someone is actually fun of someone and something like that. Okay, in that particular situation in our friends group. Okay, the when we are kind of like a fun of our friends and things like that, these are kind of like a something a very small group, might be almost like a 4 or 5 people might knew this, they might gonna laugh and things like that. Okay, yeah. And as also as we are friend, we know each other, so we don't really get that much hurtful. Okay, yeah. But if any kind of like some random person who don't really know you and who kind of like a fun of you, then you might gonna hurt. You say that who the fuck are you, kind of like a say something like that to me. So this is what kind of like a something same thing happened, that ki Samay Raina do kind of like a something dark comedy. Okay, yeah. Now because of that he kind of like create a show named India's Got Latent. Okay, yeah. In this particular show he kind of like invited couple of people. Okay, something like a really influential people वगैरह वगैरह as a judges, and there are kind of like a some contestant. Okay, yeah. So what is actually this thing, the contestant can do anything they want. Okay, yeah, regarding about whatever the creativity that they have, not creativity but whatever the things that they want to do, they could do that. Okay, yeah, like a sing a song, dance, or kind of like a do beatboxing, do anything. Yeah. And basically is this thing, then those kind of like assembly judges including Samay Raina is into that judges panel, and they are kind of like asking the question to that particular contestant and things like that. Okay, yeah. And as also they are kind of like a fun of that contestant, like a that contestant kind of like he was like those people are kind of like a roasting. Okay, with really fun way. Okay, yeah. So like it's this kind of like a something style of making this entertainment is not that unique. Okay, yeah. Like it already did it in kind of like a something so many reality show and things like that. But the problem is that na ki it's actually uploaded on the social media platform on YouTube. So YouTube is kind of like a something doesn't really have any censor system. What's the censor system? A censor means like that ki these are kind of like a something design shows called reality shows have kind of like a something censorship, means like that you won't be able to kind of like a give any kind of like a something verbal abuse word, like you won't be able to say ban chod mother chod वगैरह वगैरह, you won't be able to say. Why? Because it will gonna censor. Okay, yeah, because like in the television most of the kind of like a something episode are air into the broadcast, and there are so many people are kind of like a watching, and these kind of like a something words people might not associate with those words. So this is why kind of like a something television are have censorship, but in the YouTube doesn't really have any censorship, means like that you could say anything that you want. There is a community guideline, by the way, like you won't be able to say anything, but still that community guideline must be followed. But still you could do kind of like a something hurtful things like a ban chod mother chod वगैरह वगैरह वगैरह. Okay, yeah. So because of India's Got Latent is actually uploaded on YouTube platform, and YouTube doesn't really have that much kind of like a something censorship. Okay, yeah. So because of that show kind of like a went really viral because it's fun, it's comedy, and as also it's kind of like use some sort of verbal words like a ben chod mother chod वगैरह वगैरह वगैरह. Okay, yeah. This shows getting so many views. Yeah, so many views, like each episode gets almost like a 10 million 20 million views, which is like a really incredible, like what the fuck is that? Okay, yeah. And basically in this particular show they are kind of like a just fun of those contestants and things like that. Yeah, like it's like I haven't really watched, like I started watching and I realized that dude, it's like it's not like it felt something that I shouldn't supposed to watch that thing because it's really not that good. Like I don't know. Okay, yeah. Like there are some sort of people who are kind of like love those shows, but I am not those people because I don't know. It's something very different. Okay, yeah. Whatever. So this is kind of like a some show. Now what is actually happened that Ranveer Allahbadia is actually invited on that show as a kind of like a judge panel. Okay, yeah. And basically is this thing as also not only just Ranveer Allahbadia, rest of the other follower influencer are actually invited into that particular show. Okay, yeah. So what is actually happened that there are kind of like a couple of contestants who is kind of like doing something, and those are judges panel are kind of like doing fun of him with a kind of like something very brutal way, something like that. Okay, yeah. So then Ranveer Allahbadia kind of like said something really incredible, really kind of like somebody not so good word. Okay, like he kind of like somebody put a joke that he like basically is this thing, would you kind of like something, if your parents having a sex, would you watch them? Okay, yeah, or else do you join with them? Like this is really like a really not that good. Okay, yeah. Like probably is this thing na ki sex is a kind of like a something a taboo subject in our India society. Okay, and you are associate the sex subject with your family as a parents and child. Like basically is this thing, if your parents are doing a sex, would you join them? Like what the fuck are you suggesting? Okay, yeah. If your parents means like that the person who is watching is might be a son or daughter, would you join them? Means like that do you want to continue as a threesome? Like what the fuck is that? This is really like a yeah, this comment, this joke is like a really not that good. Okay, yeah. So because of this joke controversy started. Literally this kind of like a clip is actually kind of like a something went to the public and like people went crazy. Yeah, like this is the joke is really not that good, this and that, you are kind of like somebody abusing the words regarding about family, regarding about our culture and things like that. And yeah, this joke is really not that good. Okay, yeah. But usually let me tell you one thing. Okay, yeah, as a human have a kind of like some certain tendency regarding about some certain situation. Example, like basically I am talking kind of like something very good word right here right now in this artifact episode is because of that key situation are kind of like something such a belong to that. Okay, I means like right now in this particular situation I am kind of like talking regarding about how do I supposed to improve in things like that. But if I went to kind of like a some certain situation where people are kind of like a something using very abusive word, and which is really common, and everyone kind of like appreciate that abusive word and things like that. So as a person, we also wanted to kind of like a part blend in that particular society or blend in that particular situation. So we also use that abuse, we also use that abuse words. Okay, yeah, we don't want to, but we wanted to blend in that particular society. So yeah, so this is what kind of like a Ranveer Allahbadia did. Okay, yeah, but Ranveer Allahbadia is already kind of like a something very spiritual, really good person. Okay, yeah, but it's just that he won't be able to do any kind of like something comedy. Okay, yeah, and in that particular comedy panel, everyone is kind of like doing a comedy as a contestant, as a judges and things like that. He also wanted to be kind of like a do such a kind of like a something dark humor comedy too. So he did this comedy. Okay, yeah, which is like in that particular situation, like if I am into that particular audience, then I might gonna laugh. Okay, yeah, why? Because yeah, like I wanted to blend in that situation. But if I am kind of like a looking that joke from third point of perspective, then this is something really wrong. Okay, yeah, like this is something really wrong. Okay, yeah, it's something that na ki our perspective is actually changed regarding about our situation. It's come something like human mind means like that ki if we are associate with some sort of people who is really smart, then that in smart people are kind of like a influence to become little bit of smart. Okay, yeah, and suddenly if we went to kind of like a somebody associated with such a people who is kind of like a really like a really mad or really bad person, then our like as he mentioned now, we are kind of like a part of average of surrounding. So this is what kind of like a some racist thing. So this is kind of like a controversy happened, and this because of this controversy, Ranveer Allahbadia getting lot of backlashes, like a death threats. The government is kind of like a telling him regarding about this and that. FBI, sorry, CBI investigation was started. There are a lot of things actually happened. Okay, yeah, lot of millions of followers is actually lost. And then Samay Raina is kind of like a somebody dropped that show. That show was not published. Okay, rest of the show which is actually already published was deleted on the YouTube platform. And there are very big controversies actually happened. Like a yeah, so much views. Okay, by the way, this Ranveer Allahbadia guy, he already apologized. Okay, yeah, but still people don't really associate with that apologize. They don't really accept the apologize, and like this topic is went like a really viral. Okay, and because of like a something, so many things has actually happened. Okay, so basically in this particular question, the question says that if the one video went really viral and people are associated with a something really very different thing. Okay, means like that na ki on his content on Ranveer Allahbadia subject, Ranveer Allahbadia people are kind of like expected him to be kind of like somebody good, smart and things like that, but he was kind of like a doing some sort of pathetic activity in this particular comedy show. So which is kind of like a somebody very different thing, means like that na ki we are getting so much value from his podcast, but right now when we see him in real life, he was kind of like a doing really pathetic thing. So people are kind of like a feel really heartbroken. People are feel like that ki who the fuck is this guy? Okay, like basically he was talking really good stuff on his podcast, but when he went to the kind of like a comedy show, he was kind of like a really fuck. So this is really bad, really bad. Okay, so so basically is this thing, if that particular situation is actually happened with me, not exactly but somehow like that, so what would I do? What kind of like a stuff I might gonna do in that particular situation? First of all is that ki if something controversy is actually happen, okay, something like that controversy or any kind of like a people are kind of like a misprint or kind, what is actually that word? That word is a misinterpret. Okay, they actually mention that misinterpret, if they misinterpret my words and things like that. So and it went viral and people are kind of like a, somebody looking at me in very different point of perspective, that is like something really wrong. Okay, and it is really not that good for my content creation and things like that. So what would I supposed to do in that particular situation? So So what would I do? First of all is that I'm gonna stay calm. Okay, yeah. First of all is that I have to be stay calm. Okay, yeah. Okay, I'm not kind of like a something thinking about any kind of like a something example. So I'm kind of like a something place as a Ranveer Allahbadia. Like basically I am the Ranveer Allahbadia, and if that such thing is actually happened, then what would I supposed to do? Okay, yeah. This is actually already happened. Then what would I supposed to do? So first thing is that ki I have to be stay calm. Okay, yeah, like I did kind of like a say something really very bad word in that particular show, so I have to be stay calm first of all. Another thing is that ki I didn't really did it on purposeful. I just kind of like a did it just spur of the moment. Okay, yeah. So I wanted to apologize. So I kind of like open up a Instagram and kind of like do apologize. Okay, yeah. And as also is this thing, I just have to kind of like a like kind of like a something really ready for all those backlashes and things like that, like a basically like a ready for all the consequences will gonna happen. I just have to make sure that I have to be ready for that. Means like that I will gonna lose my follower, I'm gonna lose some sort of like a business opportunity, I'm gonna lose kind of like a something money, and there are things, and as also legal activities too, like a CBI investigation and things, and that. Okay, yeah. First of all is that let me calm, let me apologize, and just do not do anything at all. Okay, yeah. Kind of like a take a gap for almost like a 2-3 months. Okay, yeah, and let this kind of like a somebody chapter is slow down. Okay, slow down or cool off. Okay, yeah. And don't really post anything at all. Okay, yeah. Don't really kind of like a show that key what is actually like you are vulnerable and you lost and things like that, because you have to accept that key whatever the things, whatever the mistake is actually happened from your point of perspective. So this is kind of like only consequences that I should supposed to be face, so I have to be face. Okay, yeah. Yeah, okay. So basically, first of all, is that I have to protect myself. Okay, yeah. Stay calm and protect myself. Like basically, if there is a death threat or anything like at all, so I have to be kind of like ask for police protection, or if they are not providing anything at all, so I have to make sure I have to be protect myself. Okay, as also my family too. Okay, I shouldn't supposed to be go to the public. Okay, yeah. Make sure that all those 6 months I have to be kind of like a stay home, or else like if the government are let me to go somewhere around the world, then I have to go. Because of that key, if I went like another country, that might be kind of like a somebody kind of like a feel really good. Okay, yeah, because in this but in India might be situation is really not that good here, so I might gonna go somewhere else. Okay, yeah. But still government is not authorized to go kind of like a somebody another country, so I have to make sure that I have to be stay home and kind of like a take a rest. Okay, yeah. And do not kind of like a somebody do anything at all, do not go into social media, do not do anything at all, just for 3 months not to do anything at all, and ready for all the consequences. Okay, yeah. As also is this thing, you have to be expect that things might goes wrong, so you have to be expect that yeah, I might gonna lose some sort of money, follower and things like that. But okay, yeah. Now after 3 months you will start doing your work. Now there is also another thing. Ranveer Allahbadia is actually kind of like a something, does not create content by itself. No, he actually create the content by the people came to his podcast and they are actually talking to him and things like that. Okay, yeah. For the podcast, it is really essential to be that he make the image as good as possible as he can, and he kind of like a create that particular image. Okay, yeah. But still, he might gonna do little bit of fuck up. So this actually happened. Okay, yeah. So is there kind of like something so many guests will gonna come? Well, probably not. Okay, yeah. But still you just have to be kind of like a something like a, you have almost like a 10 million follower, so probably there are so many people who are kind of like a raise the voice and kind of like a talk to the people and things like that. There are so many people. Okay, yeah. But still it is really essential to be apologize again. Okay, I means like that after kind of like a something 3 or 4 months. Okay, yeah. You have kind of like a something guest, create the podcast with that particular guy. Okay, yeah. But before that like basically, if I'm kind of like uploading like a, you have a guest, talk to them, create the podcast, now upload the podcast. But basically this thing, before you upload the podcast, means like that tomorrow I'm gonna upload the podcast, then what should I supposed to do today is that I have to make the video that this is actually happened, this is actually happened. Tell your thing, tell your perspective regarding about that what is actually happened, okay, in this particular controversy, that this has happened. Like I know I make mistakes and things like that, like something like that. Like a be kind of like somebody responsible for all those things. I have to be kind of like a somebody be responsible for all those things, that like I am kind of like a somebody bad, apologize again, and I'm really really sorry for that. Okay, yeah, upload that video on the YouTube platform. Okay, yeah, as a kind of like a somebody again apologize. Okay, yeah. So people might kind of like a somebody say that forget it, things like that, but there is kind of like a some high chances that people kind of like a somebody forgive him. Okay, yeah, like ho jata hai kabhi kabhi. People are also associate that this is also kind of like a only person, mistake is actually happened with the human. So yeah, okay. And then tomorrow drop that podcast video. When you drop that podcast video, then people are think that he's back in game, and that's it. Okay, like some people might gonna hate, and that is their problem. Okay, yeah, you just have to keep doing your work. Okay, there is kind of like somebody another guest who kind of like somebody talking to him, whatever, just do that stuff. Okay, yeah, do not kind of like somebody stop yourself for all those things. Just keep doing your stuff, because let me tell you one thing, controversy is kind of like a somebody started, and it will kind of like a somebody hold up for almost like a 10 days, 15 days, or might be a month. Okay, yeah, but it actually impact on you on very last long, like for the rest of the life. Okay, yeah, so it is really essential to be that key mistake is a part of the journey. Okay, yeah, you haven't really done by itself, it happened, whatever the kind of like assembly it happened, but you just have to accept this thing and just take a wait. Okay, yeah, and just be apologize and go forward. Okay, yeah, it is really essential. Okay, yeah, that key people are do like when you apologize now, people are kind of like somebody accept that like this is also person, and this is also like a yeah this like this apologize video is really essential. Okay, yeah, really really essential. So yes, so if such thing is actually happened, this is I would do, this is kind of like a something problem that I'm gonna face. Okay, yeah. Okay, so there is a kind of like a only chat GPT is actually mentioned some sort of pointers are here. First point, stay calm, analyze the situation. Yeah, first of all, yeah, stay calm. Then address it swiftly and professionally. Okay, yeah, means like that if there is actually mistake is actually happened by myself or by someone else, address that, figure it out, that kind of like a problem. Avoid over apologizing. Oh yeah, that is really good. Okay, yeah, unless necessary. Yeah, in this particular situation na, I like a me means Ranveer Allahbadia kind of like a did kind of like a some very horrible stuff. I kind of like a create a joke regarding about the family, means like that entire blame is actually up to me, and yeah, I this is completely wrong. Okay, so I have to be kind of like a somebody apologize. But if such thing is not, means like that ki the mistake is not happened from by myself or something else, then I shouldn't supposed to be apologize. Okay, do not try to over apologize. Okay, yeah, take a break. Okay, take a break, like I do apologize, but uh, for like a first apologize the kind of like somebody in vertical video format. Okay, which is actually happened, like things happen, and after almost like a 40-24 hour you do apologize. But then after 6 months or 4 months of gap, then you do kind of like a somebody full apologize video. Not apologize, but kind of like a tell your thing regarding about what exactly happened. It's not apologize, it's a kind of like a somebody what exactly happened in this controversy from your point of perspective. Okay, yeah, and as also in the end you have to be apologized, because like this actually happened because of you. So yeah, okay, use it as an engagement opportunity. Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, the viral moment brings the attention and it steers the conversation in a positive, maybe turn into the content breaking down the controversy. Yeah, like as I mentioned earlier, same thing. Okay, yeah, like make a content. Okay, like every viral, good or bad, it's a content, so use that content. Okay, yeah, learn and move forward. Yeah, like basically these are the kind of like assembly journey, and you just have to be go through that. It's a content creator journey. Yeah, sometime we went to the controversy, sometime yeah, this is all those things. So this is I would do in that particular situation. Okay, I don't know when you are kind of like listening this artifact, but probably this controversy is really good. Like it's actually happened almost like a month ago. Okay, yeah. So you just have to kind of like do the Google and search about Ranveer Allahbadia controversy, and then you might gonna find out. All right, yeah. So this is it. This is it. Should I supposed to be end here? Yeah. All right. So this is it, and thank you.